And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thomson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, welcome to the Weighing In podcast. We are sitting in not our studios, a little bit different. We are in a hotel room. It's actually his hotel room. So if you think it's a mess, it probably is. But we wanted to get to you guys and get you a program so you could hear what we say about what happened at Bellator, what happened with the UFC, and just what happened in life.
Yeah, I mean, what's in life, you know, what the greatest part about this whole thing being nice, I can actually fucking hit you.
Go ahead. This is your turn. You get to, because I've done it so much to you.
I can't wait to get back in the same room as Dave, though. God, there's so much I want to do.
I'll tell you what, man. You talk about a tag team match.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh, dude, I'm going to just...
You know what, though? I actually have been around his two boys. They would probably whoop our asses, man. And they're so mean to each other. They would protect him. I don't know why.
I like that, though.
I like that.
Hey,
guys. Okay, so look, I'm going to be very upfront and very frank. I only got to saw a couple. I'm going to see a couple of the UFC fights. And same with John. We got done real late with Bellator last night. And a very kind of emotional night, I think, for a lot of people. Just... You know, enjoying the fights. The 300 was a big, kind of milestone for Bellator. Obviously with all the buzz of potentially what may be happening, no one really knows as of now. I mean, people continue to say, all week people were talking about, the potential sale, but no one really knows. And we'll find out here shortly if things do come up, I think, and we'll move forward with that. But
the best part is we feel like we're out of the loop.
Yeah.
We don't know a fucking thing. The best part is I'm sitting there with Randy Couture, we're talking, and he goes, I don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah. Last night. It was so nice, though. We got to saw Randy last night, Dan Henderson. I mean, there were so many guys that were there. A lot of the old staff that I used to work with at Strikeforce that then came over to Bellator when Coker took over. Then they were there. Then they ended up leaving and going to other places. And, and all those things. So it was fun. It was great to see a lot of old faces. I mean, there was a lot of nostalgia in the arena last night. It was very nice, man. It was a cool feeling. I like the pyros were awesome. People were great. Fans were awesome. San Diego was always nice.
For people watching, I want to know, what do they think of that? What do they call that reality thing? It's like they put the belt up or something like that.
Oh yeah. I don't know what it's called.
They actually had one that they did not use that was like flames off of the cage. That looked real. When you looked at it on TV, it looked like they had pyro going right off of the cage.
Oh, awesome.
And they didn't use it, and I was like, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But who knows? Anyways.
Well, so like I said, we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about some of the UFC fights. We will give you a more in-depth recap on that probably on the midweek show. But I have a chance to really sit down and watch all. But I did get the chance to watch the main event, the co-main event, and the fight before that. And so I fell asleep in the fight before that. Just being honest. It
was 3 o'clock in the morning. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to watch fights at 2:30.
And it's so late now, anyways.
Yeah, because you got to remember Central Time now, East Coast time.
Oh yeah.
Coming back to the West Coast by like 9 o'clock. I'm like, I'm an early riser. And so we had a great time last night. And but man, Dave, you want to get into the UFC first, and then we'll talk about Bellator. Or you want to talk about Bellator first, then the UFC?
I mean, you guys are rolling on high emotions here. Let's just roll right into this main event, Usman versus Primus.
Okay. All right. So when we take a look at that fight, going into it, we looked and said, Brent Primus is a guy, he's going to have to get that fight to the ground to get a win. That's where he's going to be able to take advantage of his skill set. He's always been a guy that will exchange on the feet. He will throw down and stuff, but doesn't have a real speed to him. I know that he feels it. Are you touching me?
Yeah,
would you stop touching me?
Would
you stop touching me?
You're looking away from your mic, and you've got to take care of the old people.
Good idea. You know what? That's pretty smart of you right there.
There you go.
But, man, you looked at this fight, and I was like, the speed of Nurmagomedov is going to be very difficult. Primus, if you can get him down, but the wrestling of Nurmagomedov is damn good. And it just played out that way. But it really, in my opinion, it looked like a sparring match.
Yeah.
Usman would turn it on at times, but then he would just sit and coast and just touch. Yeah. And he controlled the space and the range so well that Primus, he was trying, man. He was giving it everything he had. It's just there's levels to everything, and they sit on different levels as far as their ability to control that. And Usman, even though he's only 25 years of age, shows that he's at a different level than most guys when it comes to the control. I'm being honest. He got hit about 4 times in that damn fight.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. He didn't get touched much, and what he was doing to Primus, nothing was of super power, but man, it was the volume that just kept on building. And Primus, I give him credit, man. I tell you what, the dude's tough. We talked about it off of that Barnaby fight. He really showed me something of the heart that he had. He had heart the whole time, and he didn't have the skills needed to beat Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, I looked at it a couple different ways. One way was he needed to fight it more like the Barnaby fight. He didn't do that.
Yeah, he
couldn't.
couldn't.
But he could have.
He couldn't.
He could have.
Really, how?
Yeah, I think because Usman, there was moments where Usman was there to be grabbed. He just did when he got into the clinch. He wanted more to control the position versus just throw caution to the wind. Start throwing elbows. Start throwing knees. Look, trying to track down someone who doesn't want to be caught is like Rocky trying to catch that chicken. It's hard. Yeah. And Usman's lateral move, I've seen him do it so many times in the gym against top level other kickboxers that come out of American Kickboxing Academy. And he does it so textbook with the range, the distance. His little tip kick and his side kick to the quad, the oblique kick. Yeah. He just does it so well. And he keeps the distance. And when he fought Patricky, it was very much the same way. Yeah. He was touch. And Patricky just had no answer. The speed, people don't understand. Like, maybe doesn't, I don't know. I felt like, obviously we know Brent Primus is not the fastest guy in the world. But Usman, I think, had he thrown more in bunches, would have potentially got him out of there. Potentially. Okay. But then he realized, like you said, it was like a sparring match. Yeah. He was just cruising.
Exactly. And it's the whole point. And I was, I'm sitting there with, and Moro is my partner on the call, and he's getting frustrated, like, why doesn't he do more? And it's like, let me put you in this situation. You're the champion. You're fighting a guy. There's $1 million down the road, possibly, if you get to that in your next fight. Why are you going to take that chance? Yeah. Why? This is like a sparring match for you. And so, do you blame him for fighting the way he did? It was, I could do this all night. And that's the way the fight looked. And again, I give nothing but credit to Primus. He was trying his ass off. It just wasn't there. Like I said, there's levels to everything. And you can be a great fighter, you can be a great pianist, but there's always going to be that person that just makes you look average.
It's kind of cliche to say that, that like, oh, well, he trains with some of the best guys. Like, you have to be honest. Like, even when Khabib's not training, he's still training with Islam. He's still training with Islam Mamedov. He's still training with his
brother Umar.
Umar. Like, they're constantly working on things, even when they're back home. And like, look, if I'm gonna paint a broad brush with this whole thing, right? I'm gonna basically say, until other people other people from other countries
start to live a lifestyle.
That's exactly, you knew exactly where I was going with this.
It's true.
They start to live a lifestyle that their main focus is being the best at whatever it is they do. Then nothing's going to change. This group of young men, okay, with under Khabib, under Javier, under Cain Velasquez now, is just gonna. I think they're gonna continue just on this onslaught of just being undefeated, or don't get me wrong, they're gonna lose some here and there, But this is the fight game. That's what happens. But he, like he said, he was okay after the first round, taking the fight to the ground, getting sweaty. They were sweaty, no submission threats, keeping the top pressure so the omoplatas and the googleplatas didn't work. He never faded back to put the leg over the neck.
He was unable to.
Yeah, he just wasn't able to. And then anytime they got back to the feet, it was like target practice. Yeah. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Brent Primus, but you got to speak on the facts. And the facts are that Usman Nurmagomedov was faster. He fought a very smart fight in terms of fight IQ. He mixed it up. He stayed within range and out of range. He was able to keep Brent Primus at the tip of his sword. Basically just right at the end of his jab, right at the end of the straight left, right at the end of the kick, and always outside of range. That tall, long, and lanky came in play last night.
Also, and you got to be honest about it. When we said Primus has got to get the fight to the ground, well, he didn't get the fight to the ground the way he wanted as far as being in the top position, but he got the fight to the ground. And Usman proved I can negate everything that you're capable of doing, and that's what he did. So great performance by him. And the one thing I want to say about him is this: I've known him obviously less than you have. You've known him since he was basically 19, 20. But in the time that I've known him, he was very quiet and very humble and everything. And you can see a change. He is getting cockier. But I do love the fact and this is part of what's going to make it difficult to take that title away from him or to beat this guy, is he truly, at this point, I don't think cares about the money. He truly, I don't think at this point cares about the title. He cares about, I want to show everyone that I, my brother, and Habib are unbeatable. You can't beat us. The legacy part is a huge factor for him. And I think that, we always talk about what is that motivation for the champion. That's his motivation.
Yeah. Even when Habib was, when he was 25, 24 years old and training, he always just say, brother, I don't need the money. And I was like, wait a minute, you don't need the money.
What do you mean?
You live at home with mom and dad.
We need to talk.
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean you don't need the money? You live at home with mom and dad. And he's like, brother, I do. He goes, after I have money, I still live at home with mom and dad. I was like, yeah, I can't. He always said, I can't leave my mother. And and look, I'm not saying that Umar and Usman are that way, but you just, like, when they talk about we don't need the money, I almost feel like when one of them has money, they all have money. And not that, like, oh, here, let me pay for everything. They don't ask for much. They don't need much. Like, I think Javier posted a picture. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's Javier. I think it's at American Kickboxing Academy. There's this headgear that it was an Everlast headgear. It had a little jawline, and Jav gave it to Habib for sparring, probably his first month there at AK. And he loved the headgear so much, he never got rid of it. He wore that shit till it was falling apart. I mean, you guys go on the picture. You guys can look it on the picture. It was under American Kickboxing Academy on Instagram. And he didn't want to get rid of it. Even when Reebok signed the deal with them, with him, he signed a deal with him and with UFC when they did the deals. And he basically put a Reebok sticker over the front so he could wear that. Even though they didn't make that headgear, he didn't want to get rid of the headgear. That headgear is just fucking falling apart. Those are the things where, for like people
material
like me,
things are not important.
For people like me, I went out and bought the winning headgear.
Hell yes.
I went out and bought the $500 headgear.
There's a reason why you buy the winning headgear.
$400 gloves. You know what I mean? Like, it was, but those are the things that I'm talking about when they say, brother, I don't need money, then that's what they mean. They mean, like, I don't need all this other stuff. I have what I want. And there's a difference. Like, then when you realize you don't need that money because you're content with your lifestyle, then really what else is there to focus on except for your legacy?
True.
Because who was it? Somebody did a study, and they talk about it in like one of their speeches when they run it out. And they said, look, really after you make $65,000 a year, the rest of it is all just wasted money. You're using that money to buy things that you want, but you don't really need. Yeah. Like when you buy more houses than one, when you buy more property than when you buy more, you really don't need those houses. You could just keep your money in the bank. Sherman was like, oh, that's a bad investment. But, they have what they need. They have what they want. And, and they have, like, if you guys follow Habib, he's got a nice, it's not a new gym, but it looks newly remodeled. And you can see his new team.
Does he have new headgear there, though?
I don't know. I didn't see I haven't seen him in there yet. So, but yeah, it looks like a great, it's like, it says Nurmagomedov School on Instagram. So if you guys get a chance to follow him over there. All right, well, look, the fight to me was one-sided. We both agree on that. It was the speed, the range, the fight IQ of Usman that just came through. Look, the fight that I really want to see is him and Alexander Shabli. And I'm not trying to take anything away from a tricky pitbull.
But you've seen that fight.
But I've seen that fight.
Exactly.
And Alexander Shabli is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's a sniper on the feet. Has a little bit of that George Masvidal style.
Yeah.
Hard, nasty kicks when he throws them. Very boxing-centric, though, but head movement offline. You saw how good he was with Tawfiq.
He pulls people into his traps, too.
Yeah.
Does a great job of leading you a certain way and bringing you into his power. I agree with you. I think that's the matchup. If you're going to say what's the best matchup for a final and what's the hardest matchup for Nurmagomedov, it's going to be Shabli.
Yeah, I would agree with you. agree with you.
All right, we had Chris Cyborg taking on Kat Zingano. I'll tell you what, this was one you look and, Kat is someone that has always had fantastic wrestling, and she transfers that very well into MMA. And she also is one of those people that you see people that in scrambles always always end up coming out on top and winning those scrambles just by that tenacity. And Kat's always been that person. So you looked at this fight and said, look, if she can get this fight to the ground, and she's got to do it repeatedly, throughout the rounds, she's got a chance of winning the fight. If it's going to end up on the feet and she can't get Chris down, this is going to be a bad night for Kat Zingano. Well, the latter is what happened. She tried. She went with, getting her down. Chris did a fantastic job of going with the first takedown, coming up, popping back up. And from that point, because she landed, I think the first right hand she landed, you could see in Kat's face was like, ooh, that's hard. And it's one of those, you want to know, okay, how hard does this person hit? I've watched him. I've seen it. I kind of heard, but you don't know until you feel it. Then you feel it and you go, shit.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we had. And it was just a matter of time after that first takedown attempt and what Chris did. Look, she's good for a reason. One of the things that makes her so good is she does not sit back and rest on what she has done in the past. She's always looking at getting better. Her wrestling has gotten way better. She's working out with a lot of people in the wrestling game because for the most part, there's only been one person that's been able to sit there and say, I want to throw hands with you and come out on top. And that was Amanda. She got her the one time, and that was because Chris made the mistake. And, it's funny, if you listen to Chris's corner, you'll hear them, yelling out, Bluehead, Bluehead. And I always wondered, what the hell was Bluehead?
Calm down.
Calm down, right? Calm down, man. Don't become the berserker. And that's what we're seeing out of her more. She's a smarter fighter. She's a more technical fighter now. That's why she's just, that's why she's the champion, why she's so, difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I looked at what happened last night with Kat, and for me, what it was that initial takedown. She took her time trying to set it up. She didn't just run out there and try and get the takedown. Yeah. She took her time trying to set it up. She threw nasty, hard inside leg kicks. She was really letting her kicks go. Kat was. Yeah. And as she was having an effect, I was like, oh, wow, you're throwing everything with some heat. And I could tell that she was setting up the takedown, but I just didn't know when it was going to come. Because she did it right off of, I believe, like a straight left or straight right. She threw it off the straight right. But it was nicely timed, she got in deep, and Cyborg was able to roll it through and come out on the top. Yep. But they came back up to neutral position. And as that happened, I was like, that's probably the deepest you're going to get. And I just, here's the thing. I believe with Chris Cyborg, the way to take her down is to go right to the single up to the body lock. And then if you can't, you're not trying to like lift and take her down. You're trying to like kind of trip her and drag her down. But she's so good at getting the underhooks right away, keeping her hips away. Yeah. She's brilliant at that. But look, I don't believe that dropping down on her legs, she's physically so strong.
Not unless you're a person that turns that corner so well. If you can turn that corner and be one of those people that, if you're Kyle Dakin, you're able to turn that corner on her that hard, that's the way that you can get into her legs. But you're right. Other than that, I just don't see any of the women getting her down.
I agree. There's got to be a more fluid transition. It's got to be like single up to the body and then right to a knee tap or shrug it by and get to the back and then lift and scoop and put you to hands, to mat return. It's got to be something in a seamless transition. There cannot be like a go to the single leg, okay, let me fight here, let me try to go to the body lock, then the underhook comes.
It's done.
Yeah, and then you can't shrug it by, you can't get to the back. She's just too good at that. And everyone keeps saying, like, she's 38 years old, when's she going to retire? Why the fuck would she retire? She's just fucking walking through people, and I get it. But, look, there's only a handful more for her to beat. There's Kayla Harrison.
Yes.
And there's Pacheco. Yeah. Those are the only two that I really have any desire to see her fight.
When I talked to her, I said, I asked her, I said, let's be honest. I said, there's not a whole lot of people that I can put in a position that I think is a challenge for you. I said, I'll give Kayla Harrison.
Absolutely.
I said, is she of interest to you? She goes, absolutely. I want to fight the best. She goes, we're going to fight. And I said, what's your thoughts on Larissa Pacheco? I said, I think Larissa Pacheco is a young version of you.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I love the way Larissa Pacheco fights. I think she's fantastic. And she is someone that, yes, I would love to have the opportunity to fight. She goes, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then she's like, at this point, you don't know. But those are the two fights.
Yeah.
That I think that's a challenge.
I agree. I can't think of anybody else. And here's the other thing, though. When you get to that point, and say you do get past, she's able to get past both of them, unless the fights are close, then where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Because then we're like kind of recycling you through, and people just tune you out. Then you're like, okay, we've seen you do it all. You're, create your legend. But then, like, what do we do?
Yeah, and it's the one thing. Look, you can't take anything away. I look at people that talk about, oh well, look at who she's actually fought, and so it's like you can only fight what's there.
Yeah, that's true.
It is what it is, and yes, I admit that the featherweights as a whole have not had that much as far as a plethora of talent.
No,
but neither have the bantamweights.
No.
Okay, and it's just part of women's MMA right now. There still needs to be.
It's gotten better as you get lower. 115, 125
absolutely.
to me is the better, and especially 115
more,
right now.
Yeah.
It's
super
more
exciting.
Fun. Yeah, it's way more exciting. So
great win for Chris, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, we had Alimale McFarland taking on her former training partner in Liz Carmouche. This did not start the way that we thought.
Yeah, I thought sure the filling out process would be fucking over and we'd see a fight. Apparently, a fight never broke out, and we just ended up with a stoppage. I mean, I love both of them. And but you could just tell as soon as the first round started, and as they started throwing 1-2 punch, and I was like, I said they don't want to hurt each other.
Yes,
I almost said get them out of the cage. I almost wanted to call up Coke and be like, hey, just get out of the cage. Just like let's move on. Let's move on.
It's one of those things that I think it's. I don't know. I can't say it's the difference in the mentality between men and women at times.
Absolutely it is.
Okay.
I said that at the desk with Amanda. Yeah. We were talking. I said, this is the problem. Men are okay with punching each other in the face and being friends right after.
Yes.
Even when we don't fucking like each other. Like, we could actually, train, we get closer together. We become a bond that actually develops.
More respect for the person that will stand there and take what you're giving when hey, I'm doing a lot here, and they're giving back.
Yeah. You can't be said for
it cannot.
It's almost like they're weird. Like, wait, bitch, you fucking hit me. What the fuck?
I can't believe you
hit me.
I can't believe you hit me.
Yeah.
But
it's like your wife saying, I want you to want to do the dishes. And I don't want to do the dishes.
And it was almost the same as when she hurt the knee. When she hurt the knee.
They do that shit all the time.
You saw her hesitate going back at it. Dude, if I hurt your knee or you hurt my knee in a fight, do you know how many times I'm going to fucking kick you there? It is just what it is because that's my route to victory and getting rid of you and saying, all right, we're done now. You could see her actually hesitate in doing it. And then she'd be like, okay, I got to go back a little bit to it. And it was like, this is where I learned, okay, when it comes to women's fighting, I don't want to see people that train together. Yeah. I don't, and our friends, I don't want to see them fight because it's just not the same.
John, you and I have seen so many fucking fights. I've seen thousands of fights in my life, right? You've seen probably almost close to 100,000. You're 20 years older than me. So. But
yes, I am.
This is one thing that I have not seen yet, was two females that were friends and then had to fight each other. In terms of friendships like this, they were close. They trained together. They were in each other's corners.
Let's be honest. When Alimale came up, it was Liz that was helping her.
Yeah.
This is before, Alimale became kind of a viral, entity or star based upon her very first fight. I don't know if you remember it.
Mm-mm.
Her very first fight was
Explode.
No.
Who was the
Explode MMA here in San Diego, and she took on a woman, Katie Casio, I think was her name, and known as the Soccer Mom.
Oh.
Alimale goes out there and knocks out the Soccer Mom. This woman should not have been in the cage or anything like that. And that made people all of a sudden jumped on Alimale. Alimale gets picked up by Bellator off of it and, has a great run. But it was Liz that was the one that was helping her. In the training room, get better. And they've had that friendship, and you look and you go, I understand it. But in the end, it's different.
Yeah.
Women and men look at it different, and the fight was what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's fast forward to if we ever have to see that that type of fight again. Let's say hard no.
Hard no.
Hard no. Yeah. No desire to see two female friends fight again.
Nope.
But we can go on to men. Men, like I said, the feeling out process is over. They just know. And here's the thing. Alima brought it up. I know how fast she is and how hard she hits.
Yeah.
That's like the hesitation for most fighters. When you get that first round, that feeling out process is to see
that's part of
how
it.
fast are they?
Yeah.
Okay, shit, that hurt. Oh, okay, they don't hit as hard as I thought. And that should have been out of the way. We should have seen right to the action. We never saw the action. Anyways, next fight.
Let's go into
Some of the prelims.
the prelim fights. I'm going to just go, in different orders. Let's talk about Grant Neal versus Romero Cotton.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a beautiful performance by Grant Neal. And I thought that Grant Neal at 185, that's the weight class for him. That's his first fight at 185.
Yeah.
He looked in shape. He looked ready to go. He fought a great fight. Romero Cotton, I'm going to be honest, I was super impressed with the way he was fighting.
Yeah.
Normally, I look at him and he gets tired.
Yeah.
And he was going. And when it got after the first round, I thought that Javier told him the right things. He told him, "Hey, I need more from you."
Yeah.
And Romero went out there and tried to do it. He went out there and he tried to, set, a little bit quicker pace, throw more shots, and it was pretty even overall. But you could see that the pace was getting to him. And by the third round, you could see in his face, he was exhausted. Yeah. And that's when all the takedowns started and everything. And you got to give it to Grant Neal. Training at altitude, all those things. It was his cardio was the real difference in the fight.
Yeah, with Romero, right? Like, he's got the power. He doesn't utilize his kicks as much. I used to try to work with him when I was training him on the mitts and on tie pads and stuff. It was like, try to get him to use his kicks more because it sets up his big power. He's got a good overhand right. He's got a good jab. He just chooses not to set down on them and actually, like, commit to them. It's more of a in and out type, almost like a throw it but retreat at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Like, this is, I try to explain to people, like, with boxing, I can step in all the way through, or I can just snap it in your face and blind you with it a little bit and just like pap, pap, like pepper you. And MMA, peppering is so difficult to do because guys can throw kicks right behind your peppering. They can, they just grab. If you don't throw a hard enough jab, I can just duck under. If you're not fast enough with it, I can just duck under and grab on the single or a double. There's other things you have to be concerned about.
Yeah.
So MMA just becomes let me throw a hard 1-2 or, a right hand, left hook. And if that lands, let me follow up a couple more. But I'm not trying to overcommit and get taken down. And Romero, he just needs to commit more to his shots. He needs to believe in just like, look, if I land. And when he gets in there, you can wrestle. Get on the over-under, start throwing knees. He doesn't knee at all. And he should knee a lot more than what he does, I should say. He's got powerful legs. You see the fucking ass on that guy?
He's strong.
Got a fucking hammer behind him. Jesus. Just, you've got to learn to throw your kicks. Got to learn to throw your knees when you're in those clinch areas. And mix up the takedowns. And I continue to say this about all fighters. Double legs and single legs are just non-existent these days. You've got to chain wrestle them together. You've got to shoot the single, drive to the flare, can't get it, sit you back on your heel, go back to the single and dump, or go to the body lock and lift and scoop, or shuck by and go to the back. We're losing that feeling, right? Not losing that feeling. MMA fighters some of them are just not comprehending that the first level of wrestling, men's MMA is past that. Even sometimes the second level wrestling. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Bo Nickel's not in every fucking weight class. All right? But there's levels to it, but the men's MMA is past. People shoot a double leg, they don't just fall down now. It's so hard to get them against the fence to just scoop the legs and lift and take them down. It's very rare you see that. And when you do, generally the person on the bottom gets right back up. Now, females MMA is a little bit different. There's still a little bit of that single leg to the takedown right away. But then, like I said, they're constantly evolving. They're getting better. Their first level of takedown defense is there. Now you have to you've seen it sometimes you have to chain wrestle, especially with guys like Henry Cejudo jumping in there. Yeah. With Weili Zhang and with other fighters. That first level of defense is very key, and they're making that step to the second and somewhat into the third levels of defense and stuff and takedowns. So I thought Grant Neal fought a fantastic fight, kept the pace. He was just the faster fighter. He threw caution to win. When they got into the clinch areas, Romero was just throwing the one and maybe trying to throw one on the exit, whereas Grant was throwing 3 and 4 on the exit. And he was just a faster fighter, and he just beat him to the punch, especially after the first round. So fights that I thought were going to be a little bit better were the Kai Kamaka and Henry Corrales. They fought hard. There was a lot going back and forth. What I loved was you and Morrow. The way you guys said Henry should have fought the way he fought the last 10 seconds. If you would have fought, it might have been a finish.
It's one of those, I know Henry Corrales is disappointed, and he's disappointed with that call. Those judges could have gone either way on that.
Yeah.
It was that close.
Yeah.
But that's based upon you. Now, and it's not based upon there was an overload of, action and things going on. It was muted. And you were trying to be technical, and I understand it, and Kai Kamaka was trying to be but you guys could have done more, just like you saw Henry. Henry is that guy that, at 37 years of age, he's not quite as fast as he used to be. And he's still he's a gamer, man. He's just tough as hell. He's that guy that, you knock his teeth out and he stands right there and he spits them out in front of you and he fucking just comes and throws another punch at you, which he's done. But
I'd quit if my teeth got
oh, dude. He's
you cut me up and fuck me up.
Oh, yeah,
break
not my teeth.
Break my face, but you fuck my teeth up.
I already had my tooth knocked out. I'm not letting that happen again. But you look and you go, Henry, that guy that you fucking unleashed at the end of the third round, that's the guy that you needed to be throughout that fight.
Yeah.
That's the guy you needed to put a young fighter who's faster than you, who's talented, in that position of, you don't get a choice in being technical against me. I'm going to fucking put you into a fight. I'm going to brawl with you, and you're going to have to brawl back. And what happens from there happens. It was a good fight, but neither guy can complain, and neither guy should look and say, "Wow, that was a great win." You could have done more.
When that one, like I said, like Henry's probably thinking, I got robbed.
Yep.
Kai Kamaka's like, I got it.
Got the win.
I should have won. But at the end of the day, it was such a close fight.
You could have lost.
Yeah, could have lost. Both of you guys could have lost.
That's it.
What other fights on the card stuck out to you?
I want to say that Slim Trabelsi, who is someone a lot of people haven't seen, is now 6-0. Look, the guy can wrestle, and he's a 233-pound heavyweight. He is that Cain Velasquez style of heavyweight that he's got really good wrestling. This is a guy that went to the Olympics. He was fighting Davion Franklin. Davion, whatever happened with, his knee and the whole thing. I love when a guy says, I didn't tap. You want to watch the video? I mean, not only did you verbally go, to the referee, this is tapping. Okay, you want to say, oh, my knees hurt. Okay, you don't do that in the middle of the fight. The fact that they called it a technical submission, I want to lose my mind. Okay? I mean, Josh, what's a technical submission? Do you know under the ABC what it is?
No, it's called a submission.
Okay, a submission, when you choke me unconscious, that is a technical submission. You take my arm and you put so much force on it that it dislocates. That is a technical submission.
Got it.
Is that what happened there?
It's a technical takedown.
It's a TKO. It was an injury.
What? I mean,
Right.
the takedown caused it.
It's an injury.
To hurt, so
but that's not a submission. What was a submission? What hold was it?
That was the takedown hold.
It was the takedown. What the hell are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, if the commission's making shit up, let me do it.
Oh,
too.
dude, I know, man. I actually went to them and they're talking. They go, "Oh, yeah." So it's being changed. And it's like,
No.
what is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, these guys.
Because as soon as I look in, for officials, this is important in the fact that I look at records and how people won and what they're doing if I'm going to officiate them, because I want to know, what is this guy good at? What is this person not good at? All those things. And so I see technical submission. I know, oh, he'll go out, meaning he'll get choked out. And I look, technical submission. Well, what submission was it? Well, there was no submission. you can't put that because now you're giving false information out. It's like crazy, but driving crazy. But Trabelsi, you got to give him credit. The guy he's that hybrid heavyweight. He's going to give people problems based upon he can wrestle. And when he gets in the top position, he's got heavy ground and pound. He does damage. He's going to be a problem for people.
Yeah, interesting. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head in terms of fights that really stood out to me on the lower card. Oh, the very first fight of the night. Was it the first night? Maybe it was the second.
Josh Hokett was the first
fight. Shelby. Is it Shelby?
Oh, no.
The girl, the female fight.
Yeah, Jenna Bishop.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, she's got Jenna Bishop is from here in San Diego, and she has got phenomenal jiu-jitsu. Her jiu-jitsu is just top-notch. And, she started MMA older. Started jiu-jitsu older. But, she's in super condition. And she's actually still got some speed to her. And she's one of those ones, she's the Mackenzie Dern type that you look and you go, hey, you cannot go to the ground with her unless you've got a superior ground game. And, Ioane thought that, I'm good on the ground. It's like, and I was thinking, fight started, she was popping her. Yeah. She was doing a good job in the stand-up. I said, okay, you understand. Don't go to the ground with her. And then all of a sudden that takedown happened. I went, oh, you're in trouble.
Yeah. She got the takedown first, though, right? Joanne got the takedown first. Then they kind of scrambled back to the feet. And then Bishop body locked her. Took her down, yeah. And they fucking hot knife through butter right to the mount, fucking right to the arm. I was like, holy shit.
And that's where you look and you go, there's your levels.
It was, I mean, the fact that she was able to still hold the arm bar and then still do work to she was like hitting the solar plexus.
And the way she took the hands away. Yeah. She broke the hands. You look and you go, that's art.
Yeah, I had to basically just talk about, man, you fought a great fight. I was seeking her out. And I was like, hey, man, you fought a great fight. Yep. Dominant performance. Great performance.
Yeah, she looked great. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dave, I can't see that. Okay, but hey, before we move on to the UFC card, I want you guys to go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in, onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Hey, I'm enjoying working for them. I'm not showing you my butthole or anything, but we are we are enjoying working for them. We've had a lot of new fighters that have signed up for them with them over there. A lot of new athletes. They're actually making a push for a ton of athletes to kind of get on their platform, advertise whatever it is that they are doing. It's a good opportunity for them. So if you guys know athletes that are looking to try to get on and get connected with OnlyFans, make sure you send them my way, or just send me a DM not from them or about them, and I'll try to reach out to them myself. Look, we're just trying to get more people on there that are in the sports industry, so we can create our own sports category that is whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, whether it's kickboxing, doesn't bare knuckle fighting, whatever it is. Yeah, something we can try to get these athletes involved on another platform for them to make some money so they can continue living their dreams. And look, man, it's a great opportunity for not just the fighters themselves, but for fans to really connect with their
favorite fighters.
With their favorite fighters or athletes, and get an opportunity. Like, I follow a lot of people that do different types of soccer and lacrosse, but mainly soccer, and I love working.
You do that for your kids.
Yeah, I know. I do that for my kids. But I still enjoy it. I played soccer my whole life, and it's something that the game has changed so much. I mean, when I was in high school, learning the step over and the scissor step overs, they were kind of relatively still new. And the tuck behinds, all that, they were relatively still new. People were doing them, but they weren't as used now. I mean, there's now some of these techniques. I don't even know how they're. I mean, how do you even balance like that? One foot to the next. But these are opportunities for soccer athletes or football athletes to kind of show type of moves and techniques that they use. Go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Have them slide into my DMs, okay? And we would try to get them linked up with OnlyFans. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the UFC. Like I said, I only got an opportunity to watch a couple of the fights. Yep. But I did want to say that we will do a more in-depth breakdown on the midweek show. And but just for the fights that are worthy. John and I have been talking a lot about it. I know we go through the whole card. I know you guys are a fan of the fact that we go through the whole card. But if we're going to start on these prelim fights, we're going to start really trying to spend more time and emphasis on giving these young fighters the props that they're due, the ones that perform at a high level. Make sure we give them more time and break down with them and what potentially might be next for them. So we'll focus more on those fighters that really excel almost like a win bonus. We're going to give them a little bit more of a win bonus.
A win bonus.
Give them some more time.
I like that.
Give them some more time.
That's the way to do it.
They deserve it. And let's go ahead and jump right into the UFC. Let's go right to the main event.
Well, it took so long.
Yeah, what was it? 33 seconds?
Incredibly exciting as far as all that happened in 33 seconds. Here's my take on this. And this, watching it, I was a little bit surprised because Grant Dawson has done very well with his career, has done very well in the UFC. And he had this like back and forth with Bobby Green going on. I really don't know what the hell it is. All I can tell you is I don't know Grant Dawson. I know Bobby Green well. Bobby Green's a good guy. He's just a straightforward stand-up guy. So I don't know what the back and forth really was or what anyone was complaining about. But it looked to me like Grant was kind of trying to, get at Bobby and kind of get under his skin, which would tell me that, you want him to you want him to be mad because you want him to fight a little bit careless. Fight starts, Grant Dawson circles, and he's circling out, and he's putting his back towards the cage. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's better to go forward with Bobby, and we talked about putting Bobby on his back foot is much better than having Bobby where he feels comfortable coming forward, and you're giving it to him right off the start, and I'm like, all right, that's just not exactly what I would want my fighter to do if my fighter was Grant Dawson, but all right. And then he lunges with a huge overhand right, misses by fucking 6 inches, and has one exchange, and Bobby just gives a shoulder roll and basically is like, okay. And here it comes, and Bobby lands the one shot. And then when and nothing against Grant Dawson, but obviously that shot had to really hurt him because he really gave nothing after, that. And the fight was, rightfully stopped and stuff. And, big time win, for Bobby Green. It's actually a really good mark for him based upon where they have him, because they almost have him like the gatekeeper now. You beat Bobby Green, you're a guy up here. You can't beat Bobby Green, you're going to be moved down here. And Bobby still has, he's got swag, he's got a lot of game. I still would like to see Bobby go down to fucking 145.
Yeah.
He's just not that big a guy, but great win for Bobby Green, and congratulations, Bobby. You look fantastic for 33 seconds.
Yeah. You and I were talking in the elevator on the way back to the hotel. When we got to the hotel, we were on the way up. I said, Grant Dawson looked like he was afraid right from the get. When the fight said, when the ref said fight, Grant Dawson never stepped outside the black circle.
No.
That little black line, he stayed inside that black line, put his back to the fence, and circled out. Once you give someone like Bobby Green the ability just to kind of stay within his range and not try to push him around, well, he's going to be the guy that makes you feel uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah.
And so every time he kind of came in the range, and Bobby is so good with distance. So good
he's
at
still fast.
making you understand you're right outside of range. When he threw that big, like you said, that big overhand right, Bobby just realized, you're afraid to stand. You got nothing for me. This whole fight is going to be about you trying to take me down. And he knew that he's going to have to throw big shots to get in to try to get to the clinch against Bob. And Bobby's like, look, you're going to have to throw something hard at me to close that distance. And when you do, you're going to load up, and I'm going to go ahead and just tag you. And that's exactly what happened. And you called it that when he hit the ground, though, I expected a scramble. I expected movement. I expected
because when he went down, it wasn't like one of those. He wasn't in control of his body. It really looked like he still had control of his body. He was just telling you, well, the brain is still connected a little bit. He got hurt. I'm not saying he didn't get hurt, but nothing.
No. He had control to say, I want out, and that's exactly what happened. He said, I wanted out. He got out. He got the out. I mean,
well, he was hurt because he was face down. Look, we talk about being face down, ass up. Is not the position you want to be in the cage.
No, it's not.
And he was there for a while, so obviously he got hurt. I don't know if it was the shot that put him there, but something definitely hurt him because
Well, with Bobby,
I've seen him be too good in other fights and show toughness and take a lot of damage. So Bobby hurt him.
But here's my thing with Bobby, right? People think we talk about I look at Grant Dawson looked a lot bigger than him. Bobby's a small 55 pounder. Okay, Grant Dawson looked a lot bigger than him. That's one. Two is Bobby is like you said, kind of almost like they're using him as like a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
But Bobby's just damn fucking good still. He's still good. Still smooth. Still slick. All these things. Let's not forget. I mean, I know he lost to Drew Dober, but he was whooping Drew Dober's ass.
He was tuning Drew up. And you got to give it to Drew that, you know, he was able to. That's one of those do or dies for Drew. And God bless him for going for it.
Yeah.
You know?
So look, when I look at fights like last night from Bellator, Brent Primus needed that.
Yeah.
He needed to just go for it.
I got to go for it.
Yeah. And that's what we saw. That's what I saw out of Brent Primus against the Barnawi fight.
Yes.
We didn't see that last night against Usman. Bobby, though, is someone that he'll give you opportunities to do that. He'll touch you, move. He'll still stand and trade with you. So those opportunities to get knocked out are there. Now, touching him is a lot harder thing to do than set. You know, it's like, so, but Bobby is, I wouldn't quite use him as a gatekeeper yet. He can't make it, he's not going to make a title run, but he can get back up into that top 8, 9.
Yeah, but if he can't make that title run, what's it telling you?
He's older.
He's a gatekeeper.
Yeah, but I mean,
he is. I mean,
everybody in that, like, you can't. I don't know. Just the younger crowd, the younger guys are not ready to beat him yet.
I agree with you. Look, he's still talented. He's still got skills, and you know, and I love the fact how much he's fighting. Mm-hmm. He kind of did that when COVID was around, and Bobby was one of those guys. You know, there was a lot of people, you know, and a lot of people in the UFC, you know, turning down fights.
Yeah.
And Bobby was, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I love it.
You know,
I never thought in a million years we'd see fighters saying, no, I don't want to make money during COVID.
But good win for Bobby. You know, like I said, congratulations, Grant. Back to the drawing board on this one. Just learn from it. You know, there was something in there that didn't seem like the Grant Dawson that we've seen in the past. So,
what was the next fight on there?
Joe Pfeiffer. Joe Pfeiffer against Al Hassan.
Let me just be honest, John. This Pfeiffer guy, fucking Mr. Ginger himself.
And we always talk about it.
Jesus.
Well, he's got some ginger strength.
Ginger in him. He's got ginger strength, ginger power.
No doubt about it.
Like he looked huge compared to Al Hassan. He looked enormous. And I was like, holy shit. He was just bullying him around, touching the body, come back up top to the head. I mean, you could tell when he threw a kick, it was like moved out.
It was hard.
Man, I would get me the fuck out of here. I wouldn't want to fight that guy. No way.
Okay, when it came to the submission, what did you see though?
I mean, he was just a bigger, stronger guy.
That's it. He just when he grabs a hold of that and he fucking gets in it and he's and you see it's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna survive that.
Y'all know where I'm going with this, right? Ginger strength. You guys
ginger
get it?
strength.
I want to say it, but I can't. You know, we're just kind of on that like.
It's ginger strength. We're calling it.
Yeah, well, it's got to be a twist. I know you guys all know what I'm talking about. It's so hard, John. Like,
dude,
if I was if I was from Boston, they use that word a lot. But
well, yeah, and this is the funny part with Pfeiffer, and this has nothing to do with the fight itself, but you know, Pfeiffer is the guy that you got to give it up for Dana White. He helped Joe Pfeiffer out when Pfeiffer came to the Dana White Contender Series and gets the win. And Dana finds out he's living out of his car. He helps him, gives him extra money, and sets him up with a place to live and stuff. And now Pfeiffer is talking about, well, it depends on how much money I get for these levels. But he's pulling the Sugar Sean, right? And I'm like, oh, we're already there. I love that.
And you know what's gonna happen, right?
Oh yes, I do. But that's me.
Yeah, I mean. I don't want to say don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
But I just said it.
Yes.
I mean, it's one of those scenarios where,
you got to remember, hey, when I didn't have anything and he didn't have to give that to me, he gave it to me.
Dana and I have had a very tumultuous
love-hate.
It's a love-hate relationship. In the beginning, when he signed me, he loved me. He was I'll give you guys a quick example. I was fighting in Hawaii on the show Shogun, and I came home. He signed me in Hawaii. Me, Robbie Lawler, Pete Spratt, Cabbage Carrera, these guys, right? And Cabbage. But he sponsored all of us. Or not sponsored, but he signed all of us. By the time I got home, I stayed a couple extra days in Hawaii, I had boxes of UFC gear, UFC shirts, UFC sweats, UFC everything, like hats, boxes and boxes. I had like 3 or 4 boxes that were delivered to my house, just gear. And loved me. And then as the fight stuff started coming on, I don't know what happened. Something happened. I mean, I know what happened, but I can't say it. But that after that moment, it was never the same. I look at this moment right now with Pfeiffer, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, when they say don't bite the hand that feeds you, or like the people that helped you on the way up, don't do them dirty like that. Now, you might have been thinking what you said, but you should have kept that shit to yourself. I'm not trying to like, hey, you're going to be you do you. But you had a great performance.
Yep.
And the person that helped you kind of, you know, lift you up by your bootstraps a little bit, you got to remember they're watching. And he's watching. And
he's listening.
And he's listening. He pays attention to shit like that.
Oh, he does.
And he obviously liked you a lot to help you out. And so this is going to be one of those things like, this dude just did me dirty right now in front of everybody. You know, and so those are the type of things you go behind closed doors and you try to, you know, talk to the boss man and be like, hey, man, look, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I need to make a little bit more money if I can. You know, I'm having good performances.
To fight those guys,
yeah,
I got to get pumped up.
Yeah.
You know how good those guys are. I know how good they are.
Well,
that's just being straight out and being honest with him, and he'll accept that.
Yeah. Joe Silva said something to me that I keep it in my mind. Like, when you do something like that, don't expect your next fight to be one that benefits you. Because, hey, just remember, I was kind of helping you kind of come along a little bit. Like, let me be very honest. Joe called me. I was supposed to fight Carl Parisian. I was supposed to fight Matt Serra for my first fight in the UFC. I got hurt both times. So my third time trying to make this fight into the UFC, he calls me and says, you fucking owe me. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I got this guy. I got this guy, Mr. fucking Bangkok Ready. as Eddie Bravo used to say. I got this guy named Bangkok Ready. And I keep getting bugged, and Dana's kind of forcing me to put him on the card.
And I want him
squashed.
And
I want him fucking squashed. And so I had to go out there. He's like, you fucking owe me. He's like, you need to squash this guy. So I went out and squashed him. But it was that right there that kind of got me in the good graces of Joe. And Joe's like, all right, after that, he's like, I don't owe you one, but I owe you one. And, you know, but then it was kind of it was like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. But those are the things, had I come out and said all these other things, like Joe's the guy. I've seen guys. What was Jim Miller's brother? Dan, right?
Dan Miller.
Dan was getting a little big in the britches, apparently. And this is a story that I had heard from Joe. He had told me, he's like, look, not Dan. Dan wasn't getting bigger either. Just somebody else was. And he goes, Dan had a really good arm and guillotine. Dan Miller had a really good arm and guillotine. He's like, all right. So then he went and matched that kid up against Dan Miller. Yeah. And literally, I saw the fight. Like, it was like 2 weeks later. It's like, watch what happens. Joe was very smart.
Oh, Joe understood.
He
understood strengths and weaknesses, and he would at times.
Oh yeah.
He would match you against that person. Oh, you okay? No problem. I'm going to put you against someone that I know they're not the best fighter.
No,
but they're going to give you.
They're going to give you problems. They're going to make you look bad because they can clear your path. Look at what they did with Conor McGregor.
Oh yeah,
they cleared his path.
They gave him fights that were, for the most part, set for him to do well. Now they gave him guys that, in the end, became great fighters. Max Holloway.
Yeah.
You know, and the first one that they gave Conor that they were like, okay, you're going to have to stand on your own.
Yeah,
it was Dustin, and he did. And he did. He stood on his own. But yeah, I'm going to give you a little story here, and this is the way Dana thinks. And you know, when the Fertittas first bought the UFC, you know, they flew me out, and you know, we went to dinner and talking and stuff. And I'll never forget the thing that he told me, because it went against everything that I knew. You know, he said, John, he says, let me explain this to you as simple as I can. He goes, friendship is friendship and business is business. He goes, but friendship will never be business. Remember those words, because that's Dana. Friendship is friendship and business is business. But friendship will never be business, meaning you think that our friendship is more important than the business. No, it's not. That ain't happening. I'm going to choose the business over that. And I always looked at it the opposite. No, you want me to do that for business, or take care of my friend? I'm taking care of my friend.
No, I get it.
And
I
it's
get
just
it.
the way they look at it. And that's why they've been successful. So, I don't say anything about, I'm not saying they're wrong. It was just that it was a way of looking at things that I never looked at that way.
Yeah.
And so I go, oh, this is a new world for me.
Yeah.
You
What other fight was on there? I know there was one more fight that I had watched. Did you, Dave?
Oh, yeah, I've got it. Hold on.
You got it? I don't have it.
Kaboom.
Joaquin Buckley
Hold on
and
one second.
Alex Moreno, Drew Dober and Ricky Glenn.
I did watch Joaquin Buckley and Moreno, but Drew Dober against Ricky Glenn was one that. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that fight,
Okay,
but I heard it ended by a nice finish.
Very nice finish for him. Which one did you see?
I started watching the Buckley one and I fell asleep. So I apologize, guys. Sorry.
Buckley, you put him to sleep. No,
No,
it was actually it was a well contested fight.
Mm-hmm. But John, I did notice it went the distance.
Yeah, it did go the distance.
And what I was surprised, and I was like, well, how did Buckley win by going the distance? Because I would have expected it to be the other way around had it went the distance. I thought Morano would have been one in his face, making Buckley fight a very uncomfortable fight. Because Morano doesn't look the part. Like I heard DC and them talking about, like, this is a guy that if I saw him in a club, I'd fuck him up. No,
you will not. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So when you see someone like him,
it's the book of the cover.
He's got good cardio. He's always in your face. He's making you fight a very uncomfortable fight,
and he's good everywhere.
He's got good submissions.
Yeah.
He's got good takedown defense.
Yep.
He just doesn't look the part. Don't let that shit fool you. And
you got the dad bod.
Yeah, I mean,
you got the dad bod.
My bod don't look like that.
Well, you take a look at Buckley.
It's on its way though. It's on its way.
you take a look at Buckley. Buckley's put together, man. He's just
like
fucking giant chest. Yeah. And you look at Morano, and you go, ooh, you're not that strong. He is. Yeah. He just doesn't look it.
Do we not forget like the sexiest and the most successful fucking athlete right now in the world in the combat sports industry is Tyson Fury. He's got the total dad bod. That guy's
no, stop. God. He does not have a dad bod.
Whatever that body is called.
That's called the fucking great grandfather.
It's the great grandfather. It's the pear shape.
Even I don't look like it. And he's got shit. And the best part is he sits there and he grabs it and he fucking shakes it.
Own it, baby.
But I'll tell
certain
you what,
guys, man,
it
helps with their cardio.
You can do it.
Paul Bonatello, man, that guy had cardio for days.
Yeah.
Cardio for days when he trained.
Looked like a burrito.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
a very fat one.
He used to say, he goes, I'm a burrito.
Yeah, you know when you go to like Chipotle, right? They put too much meat in the middle and they roll it. It's like a big lump in the middle. That was Paul Bonatello. He had the belly that stuck out right in the middle. It looked like he was pregnant half the time.
Oh my God.
But I wouldn't have thought that the fight would have went the other way if it went the distance. Because Buckley tends to slow down because he throws everything with what?
So much power. Yeah.
And with all that power and the explosiveness, we've seen this before with the guys that are super athletic and have a lot of explosiveness. We've seen it. They tend to slow down half of the second or into the third round, and they're not the same fighter in the third round. Well, in this fight, apparently it didn't go that way. So like I said, I can't wait to see the whole fight. I saw the first round. That was it. That's all I can give you guys. Yeah. But I definitely want to break down the Drew Dober fight. I want to see exactly how he set up the knockout. I haven't seen that yet. So, and then, I'll take a look at the rest of the card and we'll go from there.
That sounds good.
Dave, I do actually have a little bit more time. I don't want to.
Okay.
Because I actually changed my own flight. I was wondering why the roll call for shuttles said 8:15. I was like, my flight's not till 11 something. All right, so hey, you guys, we're bringing this to you guys from San Diego, obviously from my hotel room, and I thought I had a flight, so we're gonna actually go a little bit longer. Okay, and give you guys a couple of more things. Give us some news there, Dave.
Yeah, so first story here, Derek Brunson made the jump to PFL and got an immediate fight against Ray Cooper III. Want to get your reaction to that?
Who?
Ray Cooper III.
Ray Cooper III.
Yes.
Will you please
Ray Brada.
enunciate your words, buddy?
It was very clear. Don't know how it could have been clearer.
Huh? What?
Don't know how to give it clear.
All right. Tough fight.
Very tough fight for Derek.
Because Ray Cooper can wrestle.
He can wrestle, and he's got bombs.
Yeah.
In his hand. He can swat. And if there's one thing that Ray is still, he's fast.
Yeah. I mean, Brunson makes it look.
But Brunson is big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Ray's been mostly fighting at 170.
Yeah.
Brunson is a big 185er. Yeah. And Ray's going up because Brunson ain't going to make it to 170.
No.
So you know Cooper's going up to 185. he's not a big 185er as far as frame wise. He's stocky and thick
legs.
But man,
he's
just got to, in my opinion, Brunson's got to win that in the first round.
Does it not concern you when fighters go from 170 to 185 and you realize kind of the reason they might be doing that is because Ray Cooper, he has lapses in how good he can be because it looks like he doesn't train as hard as he could all the time. He had the success when he won the title. He knocked out Magomed Karamov.
Yep.
He knocked him out. He had success, won the tournament, made the money. Then the next tournament, he loses in the first round.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like, it's a little bit of that being complacent.
Okay, but I want you to think about this. And this is, and it's one of, I'm going to say a complaint. And, guys in the PFL. And if Derek is put into this situation with their tournament, I was talking to Randy about it last night. I go, look, we were talking to Brendan Loughnane. And it's a matter of, hey, that tournament, although, people on the outside don't realize it, they're having to fight so often within that year structure of how they run that tournament that you don't have any time off. You are going from fight back to camp, back to fight, back to camp. Mm-hmm. And he goes, it breaks you down. He says, I got exhausted.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that can happen, when you go through that. And somehow the PFL, I look at it, the PFL should use the tournament to establish their new rising stars. You win that tournament, you're the new rising star, and you have now ascended to this level of you get to compete against these guys that have already won it also, guys that are their top, signees. If they don't want to be part of the tournament, you get to go, you're in that, almost like their pay-per-view level. I know they got the whole Jake Paul thing and everything.
That's very interesting.
But it's, especially at 38 for Derek Brunson, I want to say?
Yeah.
All those fights that fast, that's tough. That's not an easy thing. Exactly. And so I understand why Ray broke down. This happens to a lot of fighters, and you see him, and there's guys like Movlid who he skips a season.
Yeah.
He actually walks away, says, I'm not fighting this year, and then comes back the next.
Well, because he wins it the year before.
Okay, and that's the whole point. But he gives himself that time off and that rest. So
that's this is pretty new to me though. I think it's a great idea where you have the younger guys do it and the older guys just fight for the title. But the only guess downfall to that is that like the guys that are the veterans, they want to make the $1 million. So that's where the problem lies. I mean,
you have a choice. You want to go into it, you can go into it. Go ahead. I'm not holding you back. Yeah, I'm not going to hold you back.
Yeah, but then you'll have some of those fighters that will go in there, and then those younger guys will never get an opportunity to ever really make it to the big show because they're gonna get their asses kicked by the guys that want to get in there.
Maybe.
I mean, can you imagine, right? Guys like you put like a Magomed Karamov who's fine with being in there against guys that are up and coming, they won't ever have a shot. You got to say like you can't have guys that are 4-0 going in the tournament.
No, you can't have the guy that's just
even if they're 8-0,
all of them and stuff.
Even if they're 8-0, you get fighting someone like, and they're fighting on lower level shows. They finally get to the big show.
See, I look at it the same way. You can use that tournament to set up your new stars, and you're the promoter.
I mean, no one. You're the one. $1 million though either.
That's true.
That's true. Like, why don't we do $100,000 contract? Or whatever. They just whatever
it is. It's fine, but it's a matter of. You take a look. You're the promoter. You're the one in control of who's going to fight who and when.
Well, you got to. I guess I look at it as instead of making $1 million, you turn around, you make it $100,000, and the winner of that tournament, they make $100,000 on top of their purse. So whatever their purse was, because if you're coming from a small organization, LFA, RFA, ACA,
there's
ACB,
no RFA.
whatever, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, like I just throw out these old names.
Okay.
Shark, Titan,
Victory,
all that stuff.
Titan.
Victory,
there you go.
Anyways, all these organizations. You're making 2-2, 5-5, depending on who you are. You're not making much.
No.
So for you to go into a PFL and enter right into a tournament and be like, hey, I have a chance to make $100,000.
Yeah, I'm making.
These guys are like,
I'm making $25,000 for the fight, and I got a chance at 100.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give you guys a little history lesson here. My second fight, I made $150. My first fight, I paid $25 to fight.
I paid $25. I love that.
My third fight, I made $300, and then after that, I made $500 for a while. It wasn't until I got to Shogun, and I actually made 2-2. My contract for the UFC.
Just
was
say,
2-2.
Just say, how rich were you?
I was fucking balling.
Yeah.
I was bottle servicing.
We're talking
like,
boom. Drinks are on me.
Shit, fucking, let's go steakhouse. Let's
And
go.
Let's go. And the next day,
shit.
pour again.
Surf and turf, baby. Surf and turf. Before I even left Hawaii, I was broke. I was like, shit. It was great. It was great. Yeah, it is what it is. But I think what you do is you make it $100,000. The winner gets $100,000, and whatever their fight purse is, whether it's 4-4, 5-5, you get that on top of that. You're making $110,000. I mean, fuck, that's a lot of money to these guys that are 2-0, 4-0, 6-0, 6-1, 2 and you know what I mean? Like I think that's a great segue into making it into the PFL, and then instead of burning your veterans at both ends. It's a good chance. Because then once they start getting hurt, look, the reason why we're talking about this is that it's really hard if you don't see your fighters, if they're constantly hurt, or it's really hard to follow along in a tournament format unless it's more like a Bellator one where it's just one weight class and moving on. Because if you have so many weight classes, okay, when's that weight class fight again? It's hard. It's a little difficult.
It is.
I love what they're doing. I love how he's given the opportunity every year as a season, but I like the idea of keeping it as one weight class so I can actually follow that tournament, the lightweight Grand Prix, the welterweight Grand Prix. And it just gives you an opportunity to follow those fighters. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing Yaroslav Amosov. I can't stop. I can't get enough of this guy. He's so good. And the guy that when he fights Jason Jackson, to me, is going to be his toughest test. I thought Logan Storley was going to be like he was in the first fight.
Yeah. No.
But Amosov just came back motivated. I think in this fight coming up with Jason Jackson, it's the tall, long, and lanky again. It's the long range, long kicks. And people think because he's so good on the feet that he can't wrestle. No, he came up wrestling.
Yeah,
he was
Jason
Jackson.
That was
what
base.
he did. That was his base. So he can stuff takedowns. You know, if he has one weakness, let's say it's probably the submission.
Can he stuff
I don't know.
Amosov's takedowns?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
That
Either,
is-
but we're
like-
going to find out.
Because we sit there and we talk about he can stuff takedowns. Yeah, and there's levels to it. And if there's one thing that Amosov has shown, his wrestling is elite.
It is. But here's the thing, John. When I look at Khabib, right, and I've trained with Khabib and I've trained with Islam, the style, not the style, but the size of their bodies makes a difference on how they get takedowns. Guys that Khabib fought that were taller than him, he had to work on the double leg lift and scoop. Okay? Guys that he faced that were not taller than him or equal to him or a little bit shorter, he got body lock and he kind of like lifted him. Tilted him and drug him down to the ground.
Yeah.
Amosov is not going to be able just to lift.
Oh no,
He's gonna
Jackson's long and he's gonna be able to drag those
he's
feet.
gonna drag the feet, tippy toes. He can't just get to the side hip and just lift and set you down. He's gonna have to scoop both legs and lift you up underneath the asshole. You know, that's really what it is.
Did it have to be whole?
Yeah,
it's just underneath the ass.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, come on.
I mean, onlyfans.com/weighing in. Okay, onlyfans.com/weighing in.
Let's talk about this real quick because it's coming up this week. Dylan Danis taking on Logan Paul. Is that going to happen or is it going to be Mike Perry? Because they've already fucking even that's in question now.
I already said that I didn't think Dylan Danis was going to make it to the fight.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
I don't think he's going to make it. I think Mike Perry put out something too. He's like,
Mike Perry says, I'm in.
I'm in.
I love him.
And I don't know if that's the hype. I don't know what it is, but if he is in, that's a really dangerous fight.
Life just got a whole lot worse for a guy named Logan Paul, if you ask me.
Look, Logan Paul and his girlfriend, fiance, are suing Dylan Danis, which is the dumbest thing I've ever.
Okay, thank you. That's why I just like.
You're a
grown man.
You're like Mr. Antagonist.
First off, you're a fucking grown ass man that has pulled all kinds of pranky things before and everything. And it comes down to what I always say. It doesn't matter. You get to go punch him in the face. You get to go fuck him up.
John,
it's legal.
This is when you know who is the one wearing the pants in the relationship. His wife is his fiance. Is telling him.
Woo.
They're getting married. We'll see if they make it there.
Are they getting married?
I will find out. But I look at Mike Perry says that he's in. This is going to be. It's a tough fight for him. If I'm Dylan Danis, I almost want to pull out so I can watch Mike Perry beat up Logan and then talk about it.
Oh yeah, but here's the whole thing. Jake Paul
can box,
and had Mike Perry as one of his sparring partners, preparing for fights. And, Mike Perry wasn't, in shape for those and anything. And I think Jake Paul went to him and said, yeah, you know what? He's a brawler and stuff, but I think he did his brother dirty.
I mean, I
think he did his brother dirty, dude.
There's some history there. Logan hasn't been the nicest brother.
Hold on. This is my point. I think he did his brother dirty like, all right, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
I'm going to take your star power.
Here you go. Ooh.
What, you started Prime? You're in with Dana White after I've been bagging on him? Guess what I'm going to show you.
So, do you think that Jake might be kind of like just
sticking it to his brother a little bit?
Just a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, look, you got Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate, how close they are.
See, I think those guys are
they
together.
Talk about brothers and brothers and brothers, right? And then you got Jake and Logan, and they feel like they couldn't be any more different.
I think that, because they compete against each other. Yeah. They both want to be...
Do you think at the end of all of this stuff, I think the final thing is they fight each other?
Ooh.
Like, this is. I kind of get the feeling the two of them would sell out to each other so much.
Damn it! You know what?
They might
That's
actually
not
fight
a
each
bad
other.
thing.
Because you remember there was talk of Frank and Ken fighting.
Oh yeah, always.
There was like Frank and Ken Shamrock were always talking about fighting.
Always.
And then there was that was going to potentially happen.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, and they would bring, what was that movie, Warrior? Remember the movie?
Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to be in that movie.
Yeah.
And
there was a reason you weren't.
I was supposed to be the main bad guy. Yeah. Yeah. I was supposed to be him.
You were supposed to be what? Kurt Angle?
No, it was supposed to be the kid's name is Eric Apple. He ended
up
taking
Eric
my
Apple.
Spot. He ended up taking my spot. The guy got knocked out and slumped through the ropes. Yeah. I was supposed to be him. Yeah. And then I actually gave up the role because I got scheduled to fight Gilbert for the third fight. Yeah. And so Eric
Apple's a better asshole than you, though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, and I know that's like I'm dissing. I'm not.
No.
Okay, so you know.
I know. Eric and I had some beef for a while, but it's old school now. It's old school. I've seen him recently, and he seems like he's matured a little bit more.
Doing good.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. Anything else, Dave?
Dave, anything else, bud?
Yeah, Arnold Allen and Movsar Evloev have a fight for January 20th.
That's a good fight.
That's a good fight.
Evloev and his wrestling. Arnold Allen just needs to come out and be the guy that he was before the Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Or you go back to that guy in the 5th round.
Yeah.
The 5th round guy.
I feel like fighters, they just try to control the situation too much.
They do.
And I continue to say, look, when you're young in your career, which Arnold Allen is, but there's moments where you just got to be like, you know what? In 15, 20 years, no one's going to give a fuck who I was and where they're just going to remember the action fights that I gave them. Guys like Dustin Poirier, guys like Max Holloway, they're going to be talked about forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because their fights are so damn fun. Look, Khabib, if he wasn't so dominant, not a lot of people probably would talk about a lot. Because the fact he was so dominant, the fact that he was talking to people as he was just fucking them up, making them decide like life choices. They were like, do I want to live? Do I not want to live? Do I want to just, do I want to go home to my family? Do I want to have all my teeth? Like, that's what made him so popular. So I don't know. I feel like Arnold Allen needs to throw caution to the wind. He's so good. He's fun to watch. But Evloev is just tough. He is a tough fighter. He's great.
Quality fighter.
Yeah.
Man, he's good everywhere. His wrestling's really good and stuff. That's a great matchup.
Yep, we're going to see. What else for us, Dave?
That's all I have for this show. We'll wrap up there.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, hey, I want to thank you guys for so much. I know it's very rare that you get us in the same room. And
because we would not fucking make it out.
Well, no, because fucking if you notice, I'm like squished over here in the corner and John's taking up the whole fucking screen.
That's why you're leaning forward to look bigger.
I have to. That's why I am. Look, if I sat back, look how small I look. Look at it. This is what we're doing. See? That's why I had to sit forward the whole time. I was like this the whole time just so I could... You guys got to see. See, camera angles do matter. See? So do the 3 chins. Hey. So, all right, guys. I want to thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. There's also a link in our descriptions that takes you to our Clips channel. We haven't abandoned our Clips channel. It's still up. It's still running. Got 25,000 subscribers over there. Subscribe to us over there as well. So we're joining this all together. We want to thank you guys so much. Hit us up on our audio platforms. Look, everyone's going back to work. People are stuck in traffic. If you guys got something to do on a road trip or on vacation with the kids coming up with the holidays, pop us in, listen to some of our old shows, listen to some of our newest shows, whatever it is. Go back and recall kind of, hey, I remember Josh saying some stupid ass shit like at every show.
Hoo-yah.
But go back and you're like, you know what? I remember. And then hit me up in the comments. And, maybe we'll get some banter. I want to do one of these live shows with some randos. Okay. I want to do some fans on here, come on, and, and get an opportunity to ask some questions. And, just kind of do something like that with you guys. I want to involve our fans a little bit more. We may have to do that over on OnlyFans. Try to get you guys to come on over there. So onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Also go to weighing-in-merch.com, pick up some of our apparel. The weather is getting a little bit colder, a little more fog rolling in.
Time for the hoodie.
It's getting time to get the hoodies, especially at night. Not during the day so much, but the night times. But get them now if you guys can. So weighing-in-merch.com. And John, go ahead, buddy. Take us away.
Well, you know what? Since we're here together, let's do this. You ready? Because we will see you.
We will see you.